Conservative New Media viewers, Jeremy Lin fans around the world, Charlotte Hornets fans around the world. What's up? It's me, PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to talk about Charlotte's 97-83 loss today to the Los Angeles Clippers in Los Angeles, California. With the defeat, the Hornets fall to 17-19. They have now lost 6 straight games, and they dropped to 4-12 on the road this season. Clippers improved to 24-13, and they are now 12-6 at home on this year. Let me just say this, because this was brought up by 2 people on Twitter, and I'm glad that they told me this. I was told by Nathan Fan that in the recent videos, the audio was only coming out of the left side of the speakers, basically. In other words, there was no audio coming out of the right side. And then Rit R. Lee told me that he had the same issue, and then late in the video, it was only coming out of the right side. Let me just say, I think I know what the problem is. I'll work to fix it. It might not be fixed in this video. I'll work on it as quickly as I can. As I mentioned in the last video, I believe, I'm dealing with a new set of equipment, and including audio capture and video editor and everything. So I have to learn all this stuff. So I just ask you to please be patient and hang in with me while I figure all this stuff out. But I'm glad. If you notice anything, then definitely tell me, either on Twitter or tell me in the YouTube comments, because I don't know it half of the time. I don't pick up on stuff just because I'm not listening to the videos or watching them and everything, and it just doesn't always come across for me. So I'm glad that Nathan and R told me about this, because it helps me to be able to fix the problem. So I'll work on that going forward. Now, back to the game today. The reason why the Hornets lost this game was because they didn't shoot the ball as well as the Clippers did. Also, they had too many turnovers in this game, and that was a big impact as well. The Hornets finished with 16 turnovers. That led to 14 points, whereas the Clippers only had 9 turnovers for 7 points, so -7 in that department. And the Clippers shot 44% rather than Charlotte's 37%. That affected them as well. Those are the 2 main reasons why the Hornets lost today's game from a statistics perspective. What happened in the game was that the Clippers got out to a very good first quarter. They were up by 9 points at the end of the first quarter, and then Charlotte really put it on the Clippers in the second quarter, and they won that quarter by 12 points, and they went to the halftime with the 3-point lead themselves. However, after the intermission, the Clippers were able to do well in both the third and the fourth quarters. What was going on here, and it's very much reflected in the statistics, is that Charlotte's starters weren't doing well against the Clippers starters, but Charlotte's bench was doing better than was the Clippers bench. So this was basically was it going to be the starters lose it or the bench wins it for the Hornets? And unfortunately, the starters ended up losing it, which you would expect. Now, as I said, this is the 6th loss in a row for the team. That's definitely not what we're looking for. But the good news, if you're a Jeremy Lin fan, is that he played a phenomenal game today. This is definitely one of the best games of his of the year. And there's really almost nothing to criticize in this game today. Both of the turnovers that he had, and he had 2 turnovers, one came late in the game when I thought he clearly got fouled, and he was extremely angry that they did not call a foul. And I think the first turnover might have been something similar to that. It was, I don't know. I have to go through a little bit of quarter by quarter, but he played incredibly well today. He was the best player on the Hornets team, and he and Chris Paul were the best 2 players on the court today. And he started out struggling in this game. He started out guarding J.J. Redick in the first quarter, and Jeremy was having a tough time keeping up with J.J., and J.J. was scoring a lot of points, but Jeremy stuck with it, and he turned out to have a fantastic game, and Charlotte needed everything they could get from him today to be able to hang into this game as long as they did. So it was really refreshing to see that. It was interesting because on the Hornets broadcast, they actually named Jeremy Lamb as the player of the game because Jeremy Lamb finished with 18 points and 13 rebounds. But nothing against Jeremy Lamb, but I thought Jeremy Lin was clearly the best Hornet today. Jeremy Lin finished with 26 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He played 41 minutes in the game, which was the high for either team. Shot 9 of 16 from the field, including 3 of 4 from the three-point line, 5 of 6 on free throw attempts, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, no block shots, 2 turnovers, 5 personal fouls, and his plus-minus was a minus 15, which was actually the best among the Hornets starters. And his efficiency number for the game was 25, which is terrific. That's an outstanding number. He was best in terms of efficiency in the second quarter and in the fourth quarter, which was really nice to see. We will go over some quarter by quarter. There's plenty to talk about in this game, but the Clippers are a very good team. I didn't see the odds before the game, and I'm sure they were heavily favored in this game, as they should have been. They came into this contest on their, I believe, a 6-game winning streak, or maybe even a 7-game winning streak. But the Hornets, again, they took the lead. They had their chances. They weren't able to quite get it done, as particularly in the third quarter, it really got away from them. And that's, again, when it was starters versus starters. So credit to them. They're a good team. They deserve to win this game. Now, I gave you Jeremy Lin's stats and Jeremy Lamb's stats. Kemba Walker had a difficult day shooting the ball. He ended up with 11 points, but he shot only 4 of 16 from the field. Kemba, Jeremy Lin, and Jeremy Lamb were the only 3 players for the Hornets that scored in double figures. Once again, we saw some struggles from the Hornets' big men, particularly the big men off the bench. Spencer Hawes, Frank Kaminsky, they had a tough game just as they had a tough outing in the last game. Also, Marvin Williams didn't shoot the ball well, but Clippers have a good defense, particularly when they're really locked in. They're a good team. They're not at the top of the league, but they're the second tier below that. And you got to give them respect. They're playing at home, and it's not really surprising that they won. Chris Paul, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. DeAndre Jordan, 11 points, 19 rebounds. J.J. Redick, 17 points. Jamal Crawford, off the bench, 19 points. Let's go through. We're going to go through some quarter by quarter here because there's a whole bunch that happened in this game, and this was such a good outing by Jeremy that we want to discuss it, and we want to talk about what he did well and just kind of the ebb and flow of the game. So let's start here right at the first quarter. Jeremy was fouled very early into the game. He almost got an and one, meaning he almost scored the ball and was fouled on it, but he did not score the layup. He was fouled. He made 1 free throw out of 2. Then he had several unconverted assist opportunities in this game, meaning that Jeremy passed somebody the ball, and if they would have hit the shot, then he would have gotten an assist. I would say he had at least 6 of those in this game. So he could have had even more assists. He led the team in points, assists, and minutes played. He had a terrific pass to Cody Zeller for a layup in transition, did Jeremy, early in the first quarter. Then he missed a shot. Then he had his second unconverted assist opportunity early. He missed his second shot, which was a floater. He shot several floaters in this game, which was smart when you're going against somebody like DeAndre Jordan, who's such a good shot blocker. I don't know if he made any of them, but it was good to see him using that shot, and they looked good. They looked pretty much on target. They were just very slightly off the mark. So glad to see Jeremy using that shot. Jeremy began this game 0 for 4. He started the ball game because Nick Batum was out again with the injured toe. Hopefully Nick will be back soon. The team certainly could use him, but Jeremy got the start today, and it was his 6th start of the season. So Jeremy played, he started the game, and then he came out with about 3 minutes and 33 seconds left, and he was replaced by Jeremy Lamb. But soon he came back in the game. So they basically took him out just to rest him up. And the reason why they were resting him was because he was spending a tremendous amount of energy chasing J.J. Redick around the court. That's why they needed to get Jeremy as much rest as they could. What happens, the way that J.J. Redick is used by the Los Angeles Clippers is he runs all over the court. It's almost like a track meet. And they set screens for him, multiple screens. And so if you're defending J.J. Redick, you have to go through these screens. You're getting hit multiple times running around the court, usually in one play. And so they're trying to get J.J. open because he's such a good shooter, and then he shoots, and he was very accurate early. And Jeremy was just getting worn down because he's running everywhere and he's getting hit by guys like DeAndre Jordan. So, and on one of the plays, you could clearly hear Jeremy yell out, "Hey," because he felt that one of the Clippers' big men was holding him, was basically like grabbing his jersey or something to slow him down while he chased Redick around. So he came out of the game, get a little bit of rest, came back in, after resting a minute or two, and he then missed his 4th shot in a row. He yelled out "and one" on the shot, which is a signal by a player to say that they believe they were fouled on the shot, meaning that they think they hoping to hit the shot. And one means get a free throw. You get one free throw if you are fouled while shooting the basketball. So that's what that means when you hear a player yell that out. So it was a tough beginning for Jeremy. Didn't look like it was going to be that good of a night. J.J. Redick was getting open for shots. Jeremy was missing his own shots. And so at the end of one quarter, Jeremy had 1 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and he had shot at only 0 of 4 from the field, and the Clippers led by 9 points, 27-18. However, when we go to the second quarter, things would be much different in that stanza. This is where Jeremy really began to get his groove, as did Jeremy Lamb. The Jeremy and Jeremy show brought the Hornets back in the second quarter, and really they gave the Hornets the lead. So credit to both of those guys. They played well. At the end of the first quarter, Charlotte had shot only 30% from the field, and the Clippers were shooting 50%. The good thing about this game, despite the loss, is that the Hornets' defense showed up. They did play very hard in this game. They did work hard on defense, and that's something that honestly has been missing during this losing streak. They weren't playing good defense in a lot of these games. Now, the offense struggled like crazy today, but it was good to see the defense come to life. If you can play good defense every single night, you're not going to be able to hit shots every single night, but you can play good defense every single night. And so it was good to see the team kind of returning to form in that regard. That's what they need to do to be competitive, particularly when they're injured. And I was very pleased with the way that they competed tonight on defense. Okay? Now, Jeremy drew a number of fouls on the Clippers tonight by himself. He had multiple fouls that were off the ball or not when he was shooting, so you don't get any free throws on them, but it does help to get the other team in the penalty, meaning you get to shoot free throws no matter what the foul is, and you also get the team into foul trouble. So Jeremy did a very good job of that. Then early in the second quarter, Jeremy had his second assist of the game. He made a terrific pass. Jeremy was dribbling. He went right where he kind of dribbles and goes underneath the basket. He was going from right to left. He went underneath the basket, and Jeremy Lamb did what is known as a dive, meaning you break right towards the basket. usually kind of on a straight line. So Jeremy Lamb was up around the free throw line, and he just dove to the basket. And Jeremy Lin saw him, made a perfect pass to him, and Jeremy Lamb got an easy finger roll. That was a really nice play between the two guys. Then Jeremy Lin got his first shot made of the game. I believe it was a catch-and-shoot three-pointer from 75 degrees left of the top of the arc. So now Jeremy was 1 for 5 shooting. And he ended up, what did I say? I believe 8 of 15. So his shooting got a whole 9 of 16, excuse me. His shooting got a whole bunch better as the game wore on. So there he's 1 for 5 at 20%, and he ended up at better than 50%. So that was very good to see. That made the score 29-26 for the Los Angeles Clippers. I then made a note soon after this. Frank Kaminsky is missing layups again. Frank, as we mentioned, Frank's a terrifically skilled player. I think he's going to be an excellent pro player and have a very good career. But he's at the point in his career where he's got to adjust to the athletic talent level in the NBA as compared with college. Guys in the NBA are tall enough and athletic enough to make Frank miss layups. And so he's going to either have to dunk these shots or he's going to have to get better at finishing layups when he's under being contested. Because in the last couple of games, he's missing tons and tons of layups. And that continued again in this game. I believe Frank finished the night 1 of 6 from the field. And the last game, he was like 1 of 8 or something like that. So, look, he's a rookie. This is normal. It's frustrating if you're a fan and you want the Hornets to win right now. But it's just an adjustment Frank's got to make. And he's very tall. He's over 6'11" tall. But he's not a super athlete. He's not a big-time jumper. And so he's going to have to make some changes to his game so that he can finish better around the rim. Jeremy then was fouled again. Once more, he did not get any shots, but again, he's drawing fouls on the other team. We move to the middle of the second. Jeremy then missed his 5th shot of the game. This was a 3 attempt from the top of the arc, almost dead on. Catch and shoot, ball passed to him. He shot the ball up just a little bit short. So at this point in the game, which is the middle of the second quarter, Jeremy had already missed his 5th shot. He was now 1 for 6 shooting. The good news is he was only going to miss 2 more times in the entire rest of the contest. So all the misses got out of the way pretty fast. Then he's got his second score of the game. He cut off the ball. He ran along the baseline, which is the line parallel with the basket, and he ran from left to right. He started in the left-hand corner, ran towards the basket. He got a bounce pass, I believe, and he went underneath the rim, scored a nice little reverse. It was just a beautiful play. I can't remember who passed him the ball, but it was just a terrific play between Jeremy and that player. And what we've seen from Jeremy Lin this entire year, he's really getting better at moving without the ball on offense. Of course, one of the knocks on Jeremy through the years is he's not good unless he has the ball in his hands. But he's getting better and better, and it's you could certainly learn a lot from somebody like J.J. Redick, who does so much work off the ball to get himself open. And it was nice. It was just a great play by Jeremy Lin, and as I mentioned, he's been better and better about this year, and that's going to help him in his career as he moves forward. That cut the lead to 35-33, Los Angeles Clippers, and it forced them to take a timeout with 6 minutes and 39 seconds left. So at this point in time, Charlotte was playing its bench, and Jeremy was leading the bench, Jeremy Lin, and now they were making the move. Now they were cutting down all of that deficit that had been there, and they had gotten the deficit down to just a mere 2 points. Okay, then after the timeout, Jeremy came back out, got his third score of the game. He had a nice little, just off the dribble shot from right around the free throw line, just a smooth, silky shot. I think he challenged DeAndre Jordan. Maybe it might not have been DeAndre at that time. I think it was, but I'm not sure. He just stepped back, shot the shot right through the net. Soon after that made the score. I believe that made the score 37-35. Clippers still ahead. Then he got his fourth score of the game. Off the dribble, little fadeaway shot from a little bit left of the lane around the basket. That made the score 39-37. Charlotte, that might have been their first lead of the game, actually. And the tide had completely turned here. Charlotte's bench, as I mentioned earlier, was outplaying the Clippers bench, and it was good to see if you're a Hornets fan. Moving on, late in the second, Jeremy got his third assist. Marvin Williams cut really nicely running down the right-hand side of the lane. Jeremy hit him with a perfect bounce pass, easy layup. That made the score 41-39 for the Hornets. The comeback was fully complete. Then Jeremy got a second foul of the game, and Jeremy went out of the game with, I think, about 3 minutes or so left in the second half. And this is just, they didn't want him to get 3 fouls before the half. And again, he needed to get a rest. I mean, I believe at halftime, he had already played 20 minutes in the game. There's only 24 minutes and a half. So he had only rested 4 minutes out of the 24 possible, and he needed a break. Going into halftime, Charlotte 46-43 with the lead. Jeremy Lin, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. So he was certainly starting to come on, and that first quarter was clearly in the rearview mirror. Moving on to the third quarter, Jeremy fouled again. He was driving to the basket, got fouled. 2 free throws, made both of them. That made the score 48-45. Then Jeremy got his first turnover of the game. He drove down the right-hand side of the lane. He passed the ball to Cody Zeller. Cody Zeller fumbled the pass a little bit. Then it looked like the Clippers touched the ball before it went out of bounds. However, the referees ruled that Cody Zeller touched it last, and thus it was a Jeremy Lin and Charlotte turnover. Jeremy was not happy. He complained to the referee that indeed the Clippers had touched the ball before it went out of bounds, but it was not ruled that way. Okay, now the Clippers were starting their resurgence here. They really made a big push in the third quarter. Then moving on to middle of the third, Jeremy missed his final 2 shots of the game, as many shots as he was going to miss. He was going up for a jump shot on the right-hand side of the court, and it looked like J.J. Redick hit him with the body. Like it looked like J.J. kind of ran into Jeremy while Jeremy was shooting. That was not called. That ended up as a miss. Then Jeremy had like a kind of, it was a right-handed, it was some kind of, it looked like a combination between a hook shot and like a little floater push shot. It was really weird. He was trying to shoot over DeAndre Jordan. I don't know. It wasn't the greatest shot in the world. It just looked odd, and so he missed that. That was his 7th miss of the game, and as I mentioned previously, that would be the final shot that he missed in the game. Meaning, from that point forward, he hit every shot that he took. Okay, he then re-injured his ankle. I believe his right ankle. He was coming around a screen set by DeAndre Jordan for J.J. Redick. I don't think anybody hit him. It looked like Jeremy just planted his leg kind of in a way that re-tweaked his ankle. And so at that point, Jeremy came out of the game with about 6 minutes and 37 seconds left in the third quarter. Clippers were then back up by 7 points, and we weren't sure what was going to happen. Wasn't sure if Jeremy was going to have to sit out the rest of the game, if he was hurt again or whatnot. The good thing was he would return later in the game, and he did seem okay. If you've ever had ankle sprains, which is what Jeremy's dealing with, that type of re-injury or tweak is very common. And ankle injuries are the type where you can look really bad, like look like you're in a whole bunch of pain, and then you can be okay like 15 minutes later. And fortunately, that was what occurred for Jeremy in this contest. Okay, now I put Charlotte falling apart. We need another Jeremy Lin surge. They were now down by 9 points, and it's like all the work that they had done in the second quarter was gone. And again, it was starters struggling versus starters, and just wasn't bench versus bench. It was starters versus starters, and the Clippers were simply just getting the better of it on this at this point in time. They did the Hornets broadcast. They showed Jeremy Lin on the sidelines kind of testing out his ankle. He was kind of walking around, bending the legs, seeing if it was okay, and so forth. And as I mentioned, it did turn out to be okay. Jeremy came back into the game with 3 minutes and 36 seconds left. The score was 61-52 when he came back in. Then I put a note that says, Jeremy looks gimpy on his leg. Ugh. But it turned out, obviously, he was fine on the leg as the game progressed. So that's good to see. At this point, the lineup on the court was Kemba Walker, Jeremy Lin, Jeremy Lamb, Frank Kaminsky, and Spencer Hawes. So a combination of the starters and the bench there. 2 starters, 3 bench players. Then Jeremy had his 4th assist of the game. He threw a terrific jumping pass through a couple of defenders, it looked like, to Frank Kaminsky on the right side of the basket for an easy layup. What happened was Jeremy was dribbling on the perimeter from right to left. They double-teamed him, it appeared, did the Clippers. He saw Frank Kaminsky wide open, and he basically dribbled to his left, jumped up, and threw a pass, I believe, with his left hand right on target to Frank Kaminsky. It was just like a laser pass. It went around a couple defenders, and just, I mean, you can't make a better pass than that. Frank scored the layup. That made the score 66-57 for the Clippers. Jeremy then, in a very short succession, hit a three-pointer off the dribble from about 10 degrees left of the top of the arc, and then he hit a near three-pointer. He had a foot on the line from 35 degrees left of the top of the arc. So he was getting in a good groove here now. He was starting to find his groove, and Charlotte was coming back basically because they were getting energized by Jeremy's little run. Then after Jeremy hit those 2 shots, Spencer Hawes hit a nice little shot around the hoop. That cut the Clippers' lead to 70-64, and that's what the score would end up as the third quarter ended. At the end of that third quarter, Jeremy Lin, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and the 1 turnover that was mentioned previously. Heading into the fourth, again, this was one of Jeremy's best quarters of the game, along with the second quarter. Going into this quarter, Chris Paul, the Clippers, had 21 points. Jeremy Lin had the 17 points that I mentioned. J.J. Redick, 13 points. Jeremy Lamb, 14 points. That's kind of what was going on and who was getting things done for each team. Then I made a note quickly in the fourth quarter, the Clippers were trapping Lin. They were putting extra defensive attention on Jeremy Lin. In other words, at this point in time, Jeremy was clearly the best Hornet of the day, or him and Jeremy Lamb. But Jeremy Lin is more of a playmaker than Jeremy Lamb is. So in other words, if you want to slow down Charlotte's offense and Jeremy Lin is having a great game, then double team him. And that's basically what they were doing at this point in the game. It might have been just trapping or hedging off the pick and roll, not like a true double team, but they were very aggressively defending Jeremy Lin. However it was that they were technically doing it. Okay. At this point in the game, the lineup on the floor for the Hornets was Brian Roberts, Jeremy Lin, Jeremy Lamb, Frank Kaminsky, and Spencer Hawes. So basically all bench players except for Jeremy Lin, at least in this game. Then Jeremy hit his 7th shot of the game. He was dribbling down the court in transition. He blew by Jamal Crawford and scored a layup. And while he went by Jamal Crawford hit him in the face, hit him in the nose. He didn't mean to do it, but he did it. And essentially, because he got hit in the face by Jamal Crawford, his nose started to bleed. There was no foul call on the play. The game had to be stopped because Jeremy Lin's nose was bleeding, and you could see Jeremy was very upset that he didn't get a foul call. And look, we've talked about this over and over again. I mentioned it on Twitter when this happened. Jeremy's not getting respect from the refs. I mean, in some ways he does get a lot of foul calls, but the truth is he gets fouled a ton on drives and that are not getting called. And I thought this was particularly egregious because the guy's bleeding out of his nose, bleeding a lot, and you didn't even call a foul on the play. So it's pretty frustrating to watch it, to be quite honest with you. Okay? Then coming back in after Jeremy basically put gauze up into his nose to kind of staunch the bleeding, but he kept playing. He was then fouled once again. They finally, he did get a foul call here. 2 free throws made, both of them. That cuts the Clippers' lead to 78-70. Fouled once again for the 6th time. No free throws on that. Heading into the middle of the 4th, Jeremy Lamb scored a basket. That cut the Clippers' lead down to 6, 78-72. Then Jeremy Lin scored once again. Nice little play against Austin Rivers, who was guarding him at this point in time. Kind of a little bit outside of the paint, maybe about 7 or 8 feet. And Jeremy hit a little shot off of the glass from there. That cut the lead to 80-74. Then he had 2 unconverted assists where he made one pass was to Marvin Williams for a 3-pointer that didn't go through, and the other one was actually an assist for a foul. He did a pick and roll play with Cody Zeller, gave the ball to Zeller. Cody went up for a layup, missed a layup, but it was fouled. So it actually ended up turning into points, did that play. However, at this point, the Clippers their offense was doing well, basically. So Charlotte was scoring pretty decently, but so were the Clippers. And so basically Charlotte could not cut the deficit down further. Then Jeremy got 2 foul calls against him guarding J.J. Redick in a very short period of time. That gave him 5 fouls on the game. And the Clippers extended their lead to 86-75. Charlotte then took a timeout, and you could see Steve Clifford arguing with the referees because he was extremely upset that Kemba Walker had been hit on the top of the head on a jump shot attempt, and I believe Chris Paul hit him on the top of the head, and once again, no foul was called. So Steve Clifford was not pleased with the officiating at this time. Late in the 4th quarter, Charlotte put Jeremy Lin on Chris Paul. Now, I believe this was done to try to slow down their offense. In other words, okay, let's put Jeremy kind of defensive stopper against Chris Paul. It could have also been done because Jeremy had 5 fouls and you don't want him to get another foul chasing J.J. Redick around. But my guess, it seemed that it was done to try to let's slow down Chris Paul. And then soon after that happened, Chris Paul did like 2 little isolation plays against Jeremy Lin, and he scored jump shots on both of them. It was kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, here, Jeremy Lin's your little defensive stopper. I'm going to isolate on him and score him. Look, Chris Paul has a history of doing little taunting junk stuff against Jeremy Lin, so it continued here. And it's easy to do that when you're on your home court and you're winning by 10 points or more. So then you can look like you're awesome and you're making the other guy look bad. So that was pretty annoying to watch, but it's a good sign of respect from Steve Clifford. Okay, Jeremy's having the best game on your team on offense, and now you're going to try to use him on defense as well. Jeremy's a good defender, so it was a smart play, even though it didn't end up working out. Look, Chris Paul's Chris Paul. He's a terrific player, and that's what it is. So he got the better of it today. Today's his day. Then Jeremy had his 2nd and final turnover of the game. This is the one where he drove to the basket. He clearly looked like he got fouled, maybe even fouled multiple times. He lost the ball because he was hit. No call, and you could see Jeremy extremely upset and yelling after that play. And look, that's good. Get mad. You should be mad. I mean, he's not getting the calls, so you might as well say something about it, and maybe the referees will give you more respect after that. Finally, near the very end of the game, Jeremy hit a three-point shot off the dribble from about 40 degrees right of the top of the arc, and that basically brought us to the end of the game. 97-83, 14-point victory for the Los Angeles Clippers. Look, obviously we're not happy with the result of this game, but Jeremy played fantastic in this contest. And if Nick is back, then Jeremy's going to move back to the bench, certainly, but he definitely showed today what he's capable of doing. This is a good little audition tape as a starter for Jeremy Lin, and it's better than he's done in some other games as a starter, so that's really good to see. What's also good to see, there's two other things that were really good for Jeremy in this game. Number one is he overcame the slow start, so he didn't let that affect him, and he was able to bounce back after the first quarter. His efficiency after the first quarter was -1. But his efficiency for the second quarter was 11, which is fantastic in one quarter. So he was able to overcome that. And finally, he was able to overcome the re-injury to the ankle. So I thought Jeremy showed a lot of heart today. He showed a lot of endurance, being able to play 41 minutes despite re-injuring the ankle and despite having to chase J.J. Redick all over the court. As I mentioned, I think he was clearly the best player on the court for Charlotte and one of the 2 or 3 best players in the game. And so, as a Jeremy Lin fan, I feel pretty satisfied with today's game. He played well. Unfortunately, most of the rest of the team, except for Jeremy Lamb, did not play well. And that's how it goes. The team's missing out Jefferson. Obviously, they're still missing Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and they're missing Nick Batum. Those are 3 of their top players, and the Clippers weren't missing guys. They were rested, and they were able to get the win. Now, there is no rest here for the team. They're going right back at it tomorrow night. That is on here in the east part of the United States, Sunday, January 10th. That's tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, against the Denver Nuggets in Denver, Colorado. If you listen to these maybe two vids ago or so, I said that playing in Denver on the second night of a back-to-back is one of the toughest things to do in the NBA. And that's because you're playing at altitude. So, in other words, it tends to accentuate the fatigue. I'm sure Jeremy's going to be tired tomorrow because he put out a tremendous amount of energy in this game. Hopefully the team will be able to get a good amount of rest tonight. Denver is not a good team. They are this, so it's a winnable game in terms of the opponent, but it's going to be much more difficult to win given the circumstances and because it's back-to-back and because it's being played at altitude. That gives Denver a significant advantage. So I certainly hope the team can win tomorrow. They want to end this losing streak as quickly as they can. They need to get back up towards 500. Tomorrow's game will be the conclusion of a 4-game road trip. So after that, they will be heading home, which is certainly, I'm sure they're very eager for that to take place. And that's about it. Like I said, you're going to have losing streaks during the season. The Charlotte doesn't have an overwhelming level of talent, particularly when they're hurt like they are right now. So it's little things on the margins. It's playing with proper discipline and proper focus. But there were some positive signs in this game. Jeremy played fantastic. The defense was definitely much better. The team didn't give up despite being down a good amount early. And hopefully guys are upset and they're ready to get after it tomorrow. against Denver and kind of take it out on Denver. Denver will come out in tomorrow's game, and they will play the way that they usually play with their advantage at home, which is they want to run, because they're used to the altitude and you're not. And so they want to take advantage of that, and they're just going to try to wear you down. And if you played the night before, they're really going to try to wear you down. And when that most shows up is in the second half of the game. Charlotte knows it. They're just going to, hopefully they can kind of overcome the fatigue and just be ready to go. And that's what we're going to see tomorrow. But definitely one of the better games of the season for Jeremy Lin. This is a great performance by him. And I think that this can kind of help him just kind of, I don't want to say right the ship, but he's been in a bit of a slump lately himself. I was looking at the ESPN RPM rankings, which is kind of a real plus minus. And Jeremy had been moving in a positive direction for almost the entire season. And then in that last time I looked, he had gone down a little bit. We know his PER had come down a little bit, etc. So this performance today is a nice reversal to that trend. So hopefully he can keep going himself. Hopefully that helps spark the team. And tomorrow should be a very interesting game. I'm eager to see how the team comes out tomorrow. Are they just going to give in to the fatigue, or are they going to fight? I would expect that they're going to want to fight, particularly given that Denver's beatable and you're dealing with your own 6-game losing streak. And this team has high hopes. They want to make the playoffs. They feel like they can be a special team. Now they're 2 games under 500, and they're on the outside looking in on the playoffs. So I think we're going to learn something about the team tomorrow. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win, but we're going to see how much they really want it. And look, Jeremy showed he wanted it badly today. He played great. He played all out. And so I'm definitely looking forward to tomorrow's game as well. Okay, that is it for now. Thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. I want to thank Gary Chen for the artwork you're looking at here. Gary is an artist and blogger in Taiwan. You can learn more about him and the group that he is affiliated with. He is a member of the Jeremy Only Lin Garden fan group, which is based in Taiwan but has members throughout the world. You can learn more about Gary and Jeremy Only Lin Garden if you follow the links for them in the video description below the video player. Also there you will find information for highlights of this game, so you can check out Jeremy's performance for yourself, or at least some of it. Finally, in the video description, you will see information about how you can come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group, and how you can come and follow us on Twitter. We were talking some during the game. We do that in a lot of the games when we can. So we'd love to have you come and follow us there so we can talk with you as well. Once again, I am PFV Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. It's a bittersweet day. Jeremy played fantastic, but the team lost. And it's going to happen. It's been a struggle for the team lately, but there were and are some positive signs from this game. The teams did play hard. They did play defense. They had their chances in this game, and Jeremy played fantastic, which is good for him personally. There's no negatives in this game for Jeremy. None. He didn't turn the ball over too much. He shot the ball great. He was aggressive. He distributed the ball well. He did everything well in this game. There's nothing negative to say about this game at all. He fought through injury or re-injury. He overcame the slow start. This is an all-around positive game for Jeremy. Like I said, I would say just off the top of my head, this is definitely, I would say, one of the top 3 performances for him so far this year. And we're almost halfway through the season. So I feel great as far as being a Jeremy Lin fan today. Okay, thanks a lot for listening. We will talk to you again tomorrow night, as if the computer holds up, knock on wood. And eager to hear what other people think about this game. I know a lot of people are unhappy with Jeremy not getting foul calls. I understand that. Hopefully he'll get and earn and get more respect from the refs. On the other hand, he did get a lot of foul calls in this game. He probably got more foul calls than anybody else in the Hornets. Still, it's very frustrating to watch when he doesn't get foul calls, and he clearly got fouled. Like when he got hit in the face and his nose started bleeding. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how that was missed, but it happens. I mean, it does happen. So onwards to tomorrow, and hopefully the team can kind of find its way and get a victory as they take on Denver tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be there.